This week's Nutjob of the Week is Donald Trump. Now, we'll get to his attempted blackmail and bribery of the president in a second, which is the reason why he's getting the Nutjob of the Week this week. But first, a little backstory on the fraud that is Donald Trump. Trump's father was worth $400 million. Let's just stop right here for a second to think about that. And let's all realize that most of us, given a $400 million head start, would be just fine, and we'd be able to appear rich and successful because we have $400 million fucking dollars. Now, Donald isn't quite as intelligent as most of us are, so he decided to open about 1 trillion businesses, and even though he already had $400 million to work with, this numbskull borrowed $1.4 billion from banks at 14% interest to start his casinos, and at one point, he was as deep as $3.4 billion in debt. So he ended up going bankrupt 4 times, and he couldn't make a business where people give you money for nothing profitable. That's what a casino is. So now Trump makes his money through his TV show and simply by selling his name to people who want to use it. So here's a guy who was quite literally a business failure despite his gigantic head start on other business people because of the amount of money he had to start with. But since he is such a tremendous head-up-his-own-ass narcissist, he's able to make money now because he's built this fake successful image, and people are stupid enough to not do the research, and they buy into his horseshit. So Trump has become the champion of what is called the birther movement, which is the conspiracy theory that President Obama was born in Kenya. And at this point, this movement has become just pure, flat-out, simple racism. And why is it that? Because Obama not only released his birth certificate, both the long and short form, but there are also 2 articles in Hawaiian newspapers that announced his birth. So to believe there is a conspiracy, you would have to believe a couple of articles were planted in obscure Hawaiian newspaper archives in 1961 because one day a guy named Barack Hussein Obama might become president. It's complete psychobabble. There's no connection to reality. So after Obama proved way beyond any reasonable doubt that he was born in the US, Trump shut up for a little bit. But now he's back, claiming he wants to see Obama's college transcripts. And why does he want to see them? Because he wants to see where Obama wrote as his place of birth on the transcripts. And he said, if you release those documents, quote, to my liking, I'll give $5 million to the charity of your choice. Now, he slipped in the words, to my liking, because they always find some bullshit reason to say the documents are forged or wrong. They're like, well, Section 8, Subsection 3A of the newspaper that has his birth announcement, it has a typo, so it's got to be bullshit. It's completely forged. So I want people to realize what idiots like Trump think of the president. In their minds, they're afraid Obama's not a citizen, but then you ask them, even in the ridiculous hypothetical scenario that they're right, which they aren't, but even if you ask them, assuming you're right, what are you afraid of? Right? Putting aside the constitutionality of it, etc., etc., what, is he a Manchurian candidate? Is he going to turn the U.S. over to some foreign government? What, is he a Taliban operative? These people don't make sense. They don't even think through their conspiracy theories to logical endings. If Barack Obama was any of the things that they make him out to be, wouldn't he have already executed some sort of major plot in his first 3.5 years in office? But look, I don't even know why I'm trying to be logical and reasonable with people who have no interest in logic and reason. They're just primitive, emotional, racist pricks. So, Donald, you're this week's Nutjob of the Week. And do yourself a favor, man. Take that dead ferret off your head or that dead muskrat, whatever the hell it is.